Gotta talk fast. Gotta talk fast. Gotta talk faster, faster, faster. Gotta talk fast.
What's the energy level we want to come in on? Pizzow, you know? Hi, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Gotta Talk Fast. I am a host. I am one of the hosts of Gotta Talk Fast. Nick, nice to talk to you. Nice to meet you. I hope my voice finds your ears in a great situation. And I am here today with the other host. I didn't want to use co-host because I feel like you're more than a co-host. You're also a host.
Is this not a cooperative, though?
No one gets that joke yet. So our other host, Dominic Wanzon. Introduce yourself, Dominic.
My name's Dominic. Nick and I have been friends for, God, I want to say 6, 7 years, 8 years.
Assuming this is the first episode and we ditched the other episodes, we were ex-coworkers. I was in charge of Dominic. I was his boss once, and Dominic got me fired. I wasn't doing my job. He reported me to HR. It was a whole thing, and then we.
But then I said, at the HR meeting, I was like, "Yeah, Nick, he's like the opposite of way past cool." And then Nick, while getting fired, he heard that and be like, hold on. Is this guy cool? This guy ruined my life, but also, is he about to be really
cool?
And
that was when we figured out that we were actually both huge Sonic stands. We could have avoided this whole kerfuffle if we just talked at our old job about Sonic. So
we're going to fix that the millennial way by starting a podcast.
6 years later.
Welcome to Gotta Talk Fast.
Mending Fences is the subtitle of this podcast series, where we mend our friendship, or build our friendship, I suppose, because before there's a power dynamic, it could never truly be a friendship.
Do you know the stage play Fences?
I know of it, and I know Denzel Washington was in a movie that was based off that stage play, and I always wanted to see it, and I never got around to it.
It covers a lot of, it
covers a lot of what we're about to discuss today. Fantastic. So to set up the premise of this episode, I sat down, read the very first issue of the comic, and I wrote a script that Dominic here has not read. He's read the issue, so he knows what's going on. And so if he has problems with how I've worded things or sequences of events, he can say something, but he'll be wrong because I'm right. And I think we're good to go. Do you think with that?
Sonic the Hedgehog, issue number 1. Meet me at the corner of Hedgehog and Vine, July 1993. Written by Michael Gallagher and penciled by Dave Manock. The origin of title, we believe, can be a reference to 2 things. The first being the famous street corner in Hollywood, the corner of Hollywood and Vine. The second could be a reference to the song Kansas City, a rhythm and blues song written by Jerry Leiber and Mike Soler in 1952 that has the line, "I'm going to be standing on the corner of 12th Street and Vine." Since neither of these references have references to hedgehogs, it's impossible to figure out which the writer, if any, intended to reference.
You have just such a good documentary voice. Okay.
We open on the impossible. Dr. Robotnik, with his black eyes that are void of light, his red, bright glowing pupils, wielding his infamous cane with a giant R at the handle, pulling on a rope with a robotic arm that looks to have the strength of 1,000 rhinoceroses. At the end of that rope, a noose. A noose with our beloved hero, Sonic the Hedgehog, wrapped around his neck.
Man, you are a good reader. Maybe you should just read every episode. I wrote this and I'm still at the edge of my seat.
You should be the one with the laptop because I'm going to be so engrossed.
Honestly, give me the laptop in case there's anything that I need to.
Up and down arrows for turning pages.
Yeah, sure.
July 1993, a month many people remember fondly. It was the month that the Pizza Hut blimp deflated and landed safely on West 56th Street in New York City. Did that happen?
Yeah, I'm not making shit up,
That's
my guy.
awesome. Holy shit. That's like the Apollo 13 of cool.
The Apollo 13 of cool.
Like, holy shit, dude. What?
Yeah, I wouldn't just make. I mean, I wish I was that creative. Yeah, man. Pizza blimp crashed in New York City.
Safely though. No fatalities.
No fatalities.
No, any casualties? Any injuries?
None that I know of. To be fair, I didn't read the news article, but I feel like that would have been in the title. Like disaster, pizza blimp kills 30. I feel like it would have been brought up.
Oh my god.
Mentioned at least.
How soon or late was that? It had to have been before. I'm thinking of the Barney blimp, Macy's Day Parade.
That's later.
That's got to be later.
Yeah.
It was referencing Friends, which is
yeah.
like
Well, and also like, isn't Barney just starting to take off in '93?
So. I don't have a time frame for that.
I don't
exactly,
either.
But yeah.
Any Barney heads that want to write in, I'll gladly read that email and then not tell the podcast or anyone else. But I'll file that knowledge away.
There we go.
Maybe I'll reference it again one day.
1993's mega hit rom-com Sleepless in Seattle was unleashed on an unsuspecting and arguably loveless populace whose film taught us that love is possible and to embrace leaving your fiancé for a voice you heard on the radio. And it was the month Dr. Robotnik killed Sonic the Hedgehog. Robotnik, in his joyous victory, taunts Sonic, egged on by his. But okay, for the record, they don't say Dr. Eggman.
Oh, I know. That's for us.
It's just Robotnik, for the record. Okay. Egged on by his lowly robot servant Crabmeat, who is a robot crab and somehow looks a little high on this panel, says, "Do it, circular one, do it." Side note, this is a robot. Robots are programmed. Robotnik programmed his servant to call him circular. Robotnik has a humiliation fetish. Calling it now. I think you're right on that.
Yeah, no, there's no way he doesn't. There's been too many instances where I was just like, why is Robotnik letting this slide? He's into it.
100%. And like other robots will do it too. It's not just him.
Oh, I make reference to this. You're getting ahead of the script.
Got it. Robotnik swings his cane with a giant R on the handle. R first, right into Sonic's neck. Sonic explodes.
He does. I'm looking at the panel right now. He explodes, my guy.
No, he does. Just the way it was written. It's so fucking edgy.
I thought we were gonna take this seriously. I'm sorry. I sat down and I was like, how can I make sure that the reader is on the edge of their seat and like really drawn into this story?
Just okay. So the way I write, I find a lot of humor in like contrasts of long and short. So just the poetry of that line. Robotnik swings his cane with a giant R on the handle. R first, right into Sonic's neck. Sonic explodes.
Oh yeah, it is a single sentence. It's just a fact. It's just a 2-sentence fact. Or 2-word fact.
It hits hard and quick, just like
Robotnik's cane, which I kept on emphasizing his infamous cane with an R on it because I've never seen this before.
Me neither.
And it's in like every single, like, at least in this issue, he just has it. Well, and the thing I like about the cane is it looks suspiciously like, and I was trying to figure out how to write it in the script and I couldn't find a good way of having it entered and still flow because I cared about that. I'm weirdly anal about writing, I think, and so the cane has just like an 8-ball vibe, where it's just like a black circle with an R on it, and it looks like an 8-ball or something, but or it looks like a handle on a car gear shift.
Yes, I know.
That's probably a better description, and he's just carrying that around.
That was a very popular thing, particularly
carrying canes with R's on them.
They're called batons because he's not. It's not long enough to be a. Well, it could be long enough to be.
Honestly, I think it's dependent on the frame.
Yes, definitely, and it's a cartoon. It's cartoon style and logic, so it's whatever. But No, like during like imperial times and even up to like the 40s, 1940s, it was very common. It's kind of like an old Prussian thing to have like a baton,
Sure.
which serves no real purpose because you're not in. It's like high aristocracy.
I mean, what I'll say is maybe Robotnik is a little Prussian.
Hermann Göring, he had like the Reichsbaton that you can see in some historical, reenactments.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna pretend I know who that is.
You don't know who Hermann Göring is?
No.
Hermann Göring?
No. Should I?
Fat Nazi?
No.
The fat Nazi? Okay, whatever.
Sorry, I'm not up to date with my Nazi lore.
He's like number 3 Nazi.
Okay, I know number 1.
Hey, you know what? That's all you need to know.
Yeah. I got the big one down. Anything else I don't need to know.
Okay. Sonic explodes. Candy flies out in every direction, coating the room with sugar-wrapped goodness. Sonic was a piñata. Robotnik is now suddenly angry. The joy of destroying a replica of his sworn enemy is a fleeting high. Sure, the high was high. Fuck you.
I told you I like to do that.
You do like doing that. Sure, the high was high, but the lows are unfathomably low and arguably not worth the cost. At this moment, SWAT bot number 693-47892, that's what it says, right?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't make it up.
Yeah. Walked into the candy-filled room. SWAT bot, who looks a little like the Battlestar Galactica robot, the Cylons, yes, he does, starts walking towards Robotnik holding a potted plant. For you, O keeper of the blubber, again, Robotnik 100% has a fetish here. The problem is the robots don't get to choose to engage in this kink, making it an abhorrent act. That's actually really true.
Yeah, I know.
That's messed up. You've created, it's like AI. It's not just AI that's built to serve, but can think on its own. So but it's also like fundamentally with a kink.
This
whole society of robots has a kink.
And it's referenced later, but I decided personally as a robot expert, I went to school for robot moral C.
Yeah.
Got PhD in that. And it's pretty obvious that these robots have free will and like to create. And he's still programmed. Like, how much free will do these robots have if they have to engage in this kink?
None.
Exactly
right. Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's a scary. Honestly, they did a great job making a scary society for Robotnik here.
Robotnik, seething with rage from his unsuccessful kill of Sonic the Hedgehog, starts beating on his robot slave SWATbot 693-487892 with his cane. Screaming at the top of his lungs, he lists the 6 things he despises most. No singing, laughing, reading, cute animals, dancing, and most of all, plants. Each clank of Robotnik's cane beating against his subservient robot rings throughout the facility. A deadly reminder to never cross your master. I'm like doing like reads now.
Dude, you're doing such a good fucking job. There's a real chance that maybe this is the dynamic. I am so happy right now.
Good. Of course, if Robotnik wasn't too preoccupied with his unbridled rage, he would have realized that the plant was mechanical in nature. The plant kudzu, which is a play off the plant kudzu, a plant that is also known as Japanese arrowroot and Chinese arrowroot and is invasive in the southeast of the United States, grows extremely fast and entraps the robot servant Crabmeat in its plant-like mechanical web. SWATbot number 693-47892's plan was this.
I want to put... Okay.
Yeah, I know. His plan was this. Use a modified burrowbot, a digging robot who has no feet but instead have treads like a tank and a drill for a nose. Dig trenches throughout the land, spreading the seeds of the mechanical plant. Robotnik, impressed with this idea, decides to do the only thing a proud father could do. Kill SWATbot number 693-47892 and Crabmeat and take the idea as his own, threatening the newly introduced burrowbot with violence if he dares speak a word of this to anyone. You know, if that ain't like the nature of how like companies in a capitalistic society is run. I'm not even like trying to do a bit.
Oh no,
that's
I know.
actually how it is. It's like, yeah, you thought of that, but it's my property because I
I paid
implore you.
Yeah.
And also with Robotnik, he created them.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, no, fuck you. This is mine. No.
I mean, if you think about it, if he created them, aren't all of their ideas his?
So this is like getting this is actually getting to like Walt Disney, like the debate of like how much should we really hail him as an innovator? Because we should hail him as an innovator.
Mm-hmm.
Walt Disney, 100%. He knew how to draw.
Well, that's my number 2 Nazi.
Oh my god.
So I don't hail him for anything.
I think there's a couple more you can put in between the big guy, number 1, and Walt Disney.
Okay, you're right. I forgot about Ford. There's 3.
Meanwhile, in the secret underground village of Knothole, we have our reintroduction of our main heroes. We have Antoine de Coulette, military leader of the Freedom Fighters, a posh coyote. Yes, I looked this up. Wearing an old-fashioned military jacket. Think late 1700s-ish French military leader. No pants, boots, and blonde hair that has a part. How big is this hair?
So his hair covers like the whole of his head. So coyotes, do coyotes have pointy ears, or is that just
I think
okay?
They do. Yeah.
I was stating as a fact, and I was like, wait, I'm basing it solely off this cartoon that I'm looking at.
Right.
But so his ears are pointed up on the side of his head, and the part goes down the middle. It's a blonde part. I don't remember if I said that, and it's going all the way to his ears. So it's like 6 inches both ways, assuming that the head is a foot.
Do you think it's a wig?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This dude is bald.
To be fair, though, that style, they were all wearing wigs, and they weren't afraid to show it. Or like, it's not like it was a secret.
It's just not natural.
Right.
You can't make this.
Yeah.
It looks like a mustache on his head, truthfully. Like a blonde mustache.
Yeah. Antoine is staring longingly at Sally and Sonic, upset that Princess Sally is most likely discussing military strategy with Sonic and not Antoine. Sally, who was a brown squirrel with a black stylized hairdo, I have no clue how to describe.
Oh yeah, no, honestly, okay. How do you describe?
It's a ponytail, right?
It's a ponytail. Okay, I'll accept it.
Right?
I looked at this for like 10. I wrote that with the anticipation that you were going to be looking at it, because it kind of reminds me like a mohawk. Because
I think that's just the way it's drawn.
Okay.
Because if it was a true mohawk, well, you gotta. It's between her ears.
Yeah. It's like a stylized.
It's thinner than you think it is.
Yeah, and it goes like pretty forward though, like to her eyes.
I'm only hesitant to say mohawk because there's no like shaving, but then again, she's a squirrel.
Yeah.
So.
And like, I think mohawks are cool. I like to. Yeah. I'm gonna say she's got a cool ponytail mohawk hybrid.
Sally, who by all means is naked since Antoine has clothes and she is wearing boots. Man, if that's not the most like straightforward logic thing ever, it's like why does Goofy have clothes but Donald Duck?
I have.
Oh my God! Wait! Goofy is fully clothed.
Yeah. Oh, now you're starting to catch on.
Donald Duck is pantsless but has a top.
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse is topless but has pants, shorts, and then Minnie, of course, is fully
clothed.
Fully clothed.
Why is she fully clothed? At least Sonic.
Okay, so
I'm just asking the right questions that no one else is willing to ask. At least Sonic, both the females and the males are unclothed.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to get
I like
at.
to think of it that this is an anarchistic society despite the monarchy situation that will sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, but still, I like to think that it's like they're all on an individual journey through this like political situation and they're all exploring it in their own different.
And so half of them are naked.
Right, exactly. But like there's still some of them are still clinging onto it a little bit. Some of them,
It's hard to let go of the past.
Right, exactly.
Antoine is clearly like someone who holds the past dearly based on his like civil manners and his poshness. It makes sense that he would be wearing some old military jacket that probably he never earned and he found on the ground.
Yeah.
Antoine's a prick.
And Sonic, who is also naked, has a blue hedge that has a mohawk. He's a blue hedge that has a mohawk.
Oh, did I not write out the word hedgehog?
He's a blue hedgehog that has a mohawk, or rather spines, that's embedded into his body and goes down his spine. His clothing choice is sparse, wearing only red shoes and white gloves. They are looking at a map of the immediate land around them. The map layout is thus. We have the Great Forest, which is in the south of the map, with Knothole Village marked on the southwest of the Great Forest. We have Lake Alice, which is in the northeast of the map, and we have Robotropolis, which is in the northwest of the map. Sonic and Sally are discussing the best way to hang the map and decide to call out to Antoine. Antoine, who is deep in thoughts and doesn't even acknowledge they are calling out to him, decides that he needs to do something to get Sally's attention.
Sorry. Just hearing it out loud. It's like, man, Antoine's a fucking prick.
Yep. In what some would call a move, Antoine decides to appeal to Sally's feminine side and pick some flowers for her. He climbs up the secret entrance and exits out of a hollowed-out tree stump used to enter the village. Here, Antoine starts looking for unique flora, which I feel was only said so that Burrowbot, who was watching Antoine leave the secret entrance from afar, could say this pun. You're about to find out how unique, Twan. Which is an absolutely insane pun, and someone should be assaulted for even uttering that phrase.
I regret that line. I think that's a great pun. I think it's brilliant. I need to rewrite that script.
Cut to Sonic and Sally hanging out in Knothole Village. They hear a loud scream from above. Sonic quickly grabs Sally's hand and rushes up the same secret entrance that Antoine took. Sally and Sonic burst out of the hollowed-out tree stump to see Antoine entangled in some mechanical plants. Antoine, in what I could only presume is classic Antoine fashion, decides that his fate is already lost and demands Sally and Sonic run away to save themselves. Will Sonic be able to stop the kudzu from infesting the Great Forest? Will Sonic and Sally be able to save the pretentious but lovable coyote that is entangled in a web of kudzu? Find out in part 2 of Meet Me at the Corner of Hedgehog and Vine. Part 2 of Meet Me at the Corner of Hedgehog and Vine. We left our heroes in a precarious situation. Antoine, in a misguided attempt to woo his commander-in-chief, Princess Sally, left the safety of Knothole Village to pick some flowers. Unbeknownst to him, Robotnik has created an evil mechanical plant called Krudzu, which has been multiplying all over the Great Forest. Antoine, lost in thought, did not notice the plant had ended up entangling him in a web that Spider-Man himself would be jealous of. Antoine screamed for what we can only assume is the last time we'll ever see Antoine the Coyote, proud military leader of Knothole Village. His screams were loud, piercing the ears of Sally and Sonic in their underground village of Knothole. Sonic grabbed Sally's hand and raced topside, only to find Antoine entangled. Hey, you know what? That's good writing, because yes, why are these back to back? Why are these parts?
Yeah, I know.
If they just put a single one shot in between them.
Well, that's the thing, is I don't get why they don't put the one shots in between them.
Yeah.
They put all the one shots at the very end. I should be learning how to make a chili dog right now. But instead, I'm right back into the action.
It's a completely pointless tension
I need a
break.
breather.
Yeah, or like momentum break.
Yeah.
Now, I understand. Now, I do agree that putting like a one shot in between them is like, that's way too soon. Why even, like, that breaks up the momentum. But then why are you still breaking up into parts?
Yeah, honestly,
just have it one big
is there
part.
like a contract thing with comics that need parts?
It has to, I started thinking about that. It has to be that. It has to be something in the 90s where it's like, we need this many parts for. I think that's dumb.
I mean, a lot of things are.
Is that... I don't know.
You, for example.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. That's why I'm the actor. Sonic, understanding the gravity of the situation, leaps into action. Sonic does a move some would deem a classic. Sonic spin dashes and chops up all the Krudzu. Antoine, technically freed but still entangled in the web of dead Krudzu, is carried off into Knothole Village with Sally and Sonic. Enter Boomer, another anthropomorphic animal that chooses not to wear clothing. Boomer is a purple walrus, wearing a bandolier and a yellow backwards baseball cap and nothing else. Sonic and Sally place Sonic on a table, and Boomer, the jokester that he is, decides to pretend that he's going to chop up Antoine with a chainsaw. Of course, he was only joking, that jokester. He instead pulls off all the mechanical plants. That is such a crazy move, though. That's such an insane move to do to your friend.
Yeah,
and the context of reading it in the comic, that bit of him sawing the table off instead of
yeah, I purposely didn't write that down because I was like, that's a hard thing to explain. But the table that Antoine is put on is really long, and it's too long. But it doesn't really matter because it's a table. And at this moment, this is the exact moment Boomer was just like, hey, I'm going to shorten this table because I've been meaning to do that. and like decides to scare him with the chainsaw. And I was like, that's a lot of setup for a really dumb joke that
It
is
is
already.
It's a really dumb joke in the concept of the comic. Writing it out like this, it actually is kind of a badass entrance where it's like, what if this man is insane enough? This walrus is insane enough to be like, hey, yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty sick.
Hey, and we'd get rid of Antoine.
Damn. Okay. Boomer instead pulls off all the mechanical plants that has wrapped itself around Antoine with his bare hands and throws them into a bucket. Boomer, Sally, and Sonic help Antoine up to his feet. Antoine is delirious, but seems to like he's going to be okay.
I needed to do another pass.
That's okay. Enter Tails, another anthropomorphic animal, this time a fox with 2 tails. He too chooses very selectively what clothes to wear. His clothing choice is reflective of the phrase, dressed for the job you want. His clothing style is red shoes and white gloves, just like his hero and pal, Sonic. Tails walks in, being the helper that he is, sees a bucket full of dry cuttings and decides to water it. Writer's note, for all of you uncultured folks out there that know nothing about plants and planting, cuttings are small shoots or branches cut from another plant and placed in soil/water to create new plants. This is knowledge that I clearly had beforehand and did not look up because I'm cultured.
That's true.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. I cultured you today.
No.
Yo, you just got cultured.
Every episode, that's our bit.
That's our catchphrase. Yo, you just got cultured. Put that on a shirt.
There you go.
We're gonna start selling merch now. I'm gonna just write it out. I'm just gonna write it on a marker.
The raw confidence of that. Yeah. Sonic, Sally, Boomer, and Antoine all start to stare at the Krudzu, panicking and expecting the worst. The Krudzu begins to rumble. Meanwhile, Robotnik is in his robot house in his robot city staring through what can only be presumed as a robot telescope. He's looking through the telescope at the robot Krudzu that has taken over the once lush Great Forest. There's a gag here that I wish to point out. The telescope says, "See the Great Forest, 25 cents." And then under the 25 cents sign, there is a plus $50 tax. What is this society that Robotnik has created? He is in control. He makes all the robots and they serve him. They participate in his weird fetishes, and yet Robotnik still cannot think of a world without capitalism and built that into the robots? For an evil genius, he's not very creative. The idea that robots are only in this society and choose to pay money to use his telescope implies that the robots have free will and are creative. And they like to learn, which makes the fetish thing even worse. I digress. That is a digression, but that's a great one because that's messed up. I also like that late state, post-capitalism world, but they're so that's their whole mentality. They can't escape from it.
Yeah, it honestly boggled my mind because I was like, why is he making money? There's a little bit of a spoiler, but there's a casino plot line later, and I'm like, why is there a casino?
Yeah,
who is this for?
It's like his own delusion of normalcy. I don't.
Yeah,
because that has me thinking. I've been thinking about that before.
This is making me think a lot.
It's making me think a lot. No, what if the bit was like I start as a conservative, and then by issue 100 I'm like
you're an anarchist. You're just like, how do I blow up pipelines?
You just be like, hey Dominic, so there's this book you should read called How to Blow Up a Pipeline. That's a real book, by the way.
Oh, I know. I want to read it. Okay. They made a movie.
Anyway, no, but it's got me thinking of how what is the end goal for why do billionaires build bunkers? Because if you need a bunker on that scale, right? True doomsday scenario, air is toxic, everything is like desert, whatever. Society is fully, truly collapsed. What is there left to do?
So, I mean, yes, you're right. But this is a digression, and I don't understand or remember the context in which I heard it. But there was a TED Talk, I think, or something, about a guy who was talking to a bunch of billionaires about like, hey, this is like the bunker situation, like end of the world. The billionaire raised his hand, and he's just like, how am I going to pay the guards without the money for the rest of the world?
Yeah, and like, what are they going to spend it on?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And he's like, and he was like sitting there, he's like, how do I keep them under control? And I'm like, that's, yeah.
I think I read that it was an article or a talk.
I think I heard it in a podcast, truthfully.
Yeah, but no, I think and we can't verify if that conversation actually happened, but I believe it just because it's the mentality that we're seeing from the ultra powerful and wealthy. But I think like the conversation eventually got to like shock collars.
Yep. Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
Exactly.
Gross.
And it's like once you're there, it's like Blast from the Past starring Brendan Fraser.
Yes.
Yeah. That's like that's your whole life. That's it. And that family at least loved
walking
each other.
around in a modern world with like rare baseball cards.
Yeah.
Trying to woo a woman. Man, I'm into this post-apoc. Give me Brandon Fraser.
Brendan Fraser.
It's just a bunch of Brandon Frasers walking along. I think he said
God.
this was apocalypse.
Did you know that it's Brendan Fraser?
Okay, fuck off.
No, I'm serious. It's actually
Really?
Brendan Fraser.
You know.
It's not spelled like Frasier, the TV show.
Okay, well, talk to Brandon about that.
Okay. Here is the moment Robotnik's plan becomes revealed. When the Krudzu completely engulfs the forest, the freedom fighters will emerge from the forest looking for safety. Here, a squadron of buzz bombers will attack the freedom fighters, and Robotnik will finally have their victory.
I don't know if I described what a buzz bomber is yet. Buzz bombers are just robot bees or hornets, more like.
They're really big. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. I realized I didn't describe them. So
Do we ever see them bomb anything?
not yet.
Okay,
I've been watching the comics.
Yeah, okay. Now, dear listener, I know what you're thinking. Why didn't Robotnik just flush out the freedom fighters earlier with a forest fire? After all, he most likely wants to clear the land anyway for his expansion of Robotropolis. I would point out here that we do not know the type of land this is, but we must assume that this has been tried. Just because the labeling is Great Forest, we do not know what that entails. Perhaps the forest is closer to a jungle. After all, this is a different planet altogether. But you can ignite jungle. You just have to get it hot enough. At this point, I would like to point you to the article in the New York Times titled U.S. Attempted to Ignite Vietnam Forest in 66-67, written by Ronald Reinhold and published in 1972. Note the use forests in that title. Quote, the United States made a number of concerned attempts to set huge firestorms in Vietnam during 1966 and 1967. The project was ultimately abandoned, they said, because the most tropical rainforests would not burn, unquote. An interesting article that can be summarized that it was impossible to burn the jungle from the forest. The military was advised that it was impossible from the onset, and they attempted it anyway, only to discover it was impossible. This was not the only time American forces had set fires in Vietnamese forests, according to the article. Further south in the U Minh forest, as many as 70 fires burned during April 1968. Although their origin was uncertain at the time, a former American agricultural advisor stationed in the Mekong Delta said in an interview that many of them had been deliberately set by local commanders to drive out Viet Cong hiding in the mangroves. They were quickly extinguished by rain.
Moment of silence for the jungle. I don't remember if the church bells keep on going. I was trying to pay attention to the time and I lost it because you got to the New York Times article and I got very excited.
So here we are. Robotnik staring down the impossible foe of nature. Decides to do that what many have done in his situation, which can be described with the old adage. If you can't beat him, join him. His mechanical plant, its DNA intertwined with the old world and new world. One strand of the double helix organic, and the other strand mechanical, has taken over the Great Forest. Cut to Sonic and pals, expecting the worst from the bucket of Krudzu cuttings that Tails just watered. see a giant flash of light followed by smoke and the smell of electrical fire. Here, Boomer examines the Krudzu and realizes that the plants themselves are not waterproof. In fact, water seems to be its weakness. And in the forecast today? Thunderstorms. We cut to the Great Forest, with Mother Nature rinsing away the filth of the New World. The Krudzu has been destroyed by a gentle act that can be ferocious when not taken seriously. A gentle reminder that even Robotnik can be humbled by nature. And meet me at the corner of Hedgehog and Vine. Wow. I like how from the onset, like the very first story is man versus nature, or like industry versus nature.
Sure. Yeah, I'm right there with
the
you,
industriousness of it. There is early Sonic from the beginning. The very first game, even set of games, you could say at least up until and probably beyond Sonic Adventure, right? The classic 2D scrollers.
I would push back on Sonic Adventure,
sure,
but up to Sonic CD for sure.
Yeah.
Especially Sonic CD, because you go into the future and then you find it's all like polluted and whatnot, and then you got to go back in the past to try to. Yeah, so it's environmentalism is at least up until like Sonic CD, the main core focus of the Sonic series.
Holistically, the whole series, no matter what timeline, no matter what, both cartoon shows, Sat-Am and Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, this comic, every game for many years, like it's totally and like solidly anti-industrialist.
Yep.
And that's badass. That's actually really, really cool.
Well, and I feel like it's really weird, truthfully, that like it feels like during the 90s, pretty much every like cartoon show was very like environmental focused. I mean, everything from like Captain Planet, but like pretty much any normal Saturday morning cartoon show, even if like the main premise wasn't about nature and whatnot, it feels like they at least had like 8 episodes per season talking about how good nature is, and we got to recycle, and we're destroying the planet. Yeah. So it's just really weird to me that these are like the lessons that were taught to us, and we're still just
we're regressing.
Yeah, honestly, it's worse now.
Yeah.
So
100%. Even if as misguided as the whole recycling campaign was, and how short-sighted it was and all that stuff, it was still like, hey, that's not a bad start.
Yeah.
For where we are. So anyway, moving on to You Bet My Life, Part 1, written by Michael Gallagher and penciled by Dave Manka. Now, I should note that there are there's like a whole 2, 4, 6, 7. There's like 7 other members of staff, but we're really just going to focus on the writer and the penciler because we decided that is.
I'm going to keep on writing them all down just because it's super easy. But
and you can find them easily online, and credit to them, honestly. But I can't go through all those names.
Yeah,
every single time.
I'm with you.
Boomer, Sally, and Antoine and Tails are all in Knothole Village, standing around a map, trying to decide to call Sonic. They are attempting something that I've only seen done in movies and something I believe is truly impossible in person. Holding a map. They call Sonic in unison, and Sonic comes sprinting, assuming the worst. Wow, the Freedom Fighters sound like a geek chorus. Of course, with Antoine included, it's more like a geek chorus. I think I fucked that up. Sorry. Hold on. Wow, the Freedom Fighters sound like a Greek chorus. Of course, with Antoine included, it's more like a geek chorus.
I will, for the record, anytime Sonic makes fun of Antoine, I'm probably going to quote it and put it into...
You should. You should.
Because fuck Antoine.
A stretch of an insult, sure, but I appreciate Sonic trying to put Antoine down at any moment, warranted or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with it. Yeah. I fuck with it. Sonic folds the map with ease, the first sure sign that this is a comic. Boomer says to Sonic that Robotnik is going to make a big speech and using the Robo-Locator, that is just a radar screen of, I can assume, robots, pinpoints Robotnik's position to the Casino Night Zone. Cut to Sonic now at the casino zone, which is also known as Reno Botnik, which is good because he saw the obvious Las Vegas parallel but opted for something that started with an R, and I respect that.
Notice that the word respect starts with R. Got him.
No, you didn't. Sonic enters the Robo Casino, and it is a sight to behold. Scantily clad robots with gold bras and hoop earrings roll around on rollerblades. Is that robot really on?
That is not a bit. Like, she's on rollerblades. She's skating around with her cup of oil, giving it out to I can only assume is the worst of Robotropolis.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
I wish they still had those at Sonic restaurants.
Yeah.
Got the rollerblades.
Oh, I thought you meant just scantily clad women.
Oh, no. Ew, no.
It's like,
We're
hey,
incels.
man,
We can't. No, yeah, we're not into that.
Can't. This I don't remember the name of the restaurant, but me and my friend was trying to go out to dinner once recently. This is like literally 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, this is a complete but it's a story that needs to be told.
Yes.
And I think the restaurant's called like Everest or Mount Everest or something, or Peaks, something Peaks.
Is it Twin Peaks?
Yeah, I think so. And
Is it the one that they're also like, it's like Hooters, but not Hooters? Different.
I was trying to figure out where to go.
Yeah.
And I was looking up reviews of restaurants, and there's this Twin Peak one. And all the pictures were like pictures of like mountaintops. And I'm like, oh, that's a cool aesthetic. Like, I wonder if you go in there, if there's like a bunch of like
mountaineering,
mountain stuff, and like
outdoorsman kind of.
They're like not murals, like actual like pictures of like the top of mountains, and like you're gonna sit next to it.
Alpines,
and then like I started going in my head. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe there's like they're yodeling, maybe they like blow cold air, and like they give you stuff. I made up a cool restaurant in my head, and then we get there, and I'm like, oh, I fucked up. This isn't at all the vibe I wanted. And then I promptly left because I respect women.
We're laughing because we know you don't.
I know. That one maybe we should cut.
Episode 1. Okay.
I respect women.
A buzz bomber pulling the lever on slot machine that is also clearly a robot, and a drill bot getting bonked on the head for what I can only assume was he went bust in 21. The cards have R's on them, so I assume they have their own rules.
Yeah, no, if you look at the cards in the panel, they all just say the letter R.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Sonic starts walking around and states, "Way past cool. This joint is juicin'," which is an interesting message to send to our child readers. It also hints at bigger problems, that maybe Sonic isn't as innocent as he seems if this is the type of place that he considers way past cool. Sonic wanders around the casino and discovers that Robotnik is revealing his latest sinister invention, and that one must buy a ticket to watch this presentation. Sonic buys a ticket and enters the auditorium. Meanwhile, backstage.
I'm actually going to say he bribed a robot. Again, interesting. He bribed a robot to get into this show. Weird messages being...
I mean, when in Rome, right?
Yeah, okay.
He's a rebel. He's literally a resistance fighter.
That is true.
Like, that's still within the bounds of morality if you're in a society that's gonna oppress you like that.
Sure.
To that degree.
I'm just putting it out there.
Okay.
I'm just putting the facts. I'm gonna let the people judge.
Meanwhile, backstage, Robotnik is being pampered by a buzz bomber and a bat brain. Bat brain is brushing his mustache, and buzz bomber putting makeup on Robotnik. Enter SWATbot, who says, "Almost a sellout, your ovality." Ovality? All right, yeah. Robotnik, angered not by being called oval, but instead angered by the fact that it is not a sellout show. SWATbot, he owns everything.
I know. That was the one.
Just hit the recall all robots button. You'll have a sellout show.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. SWATbot quickly remedies the situation by stating that it is indeed sold out except for one single seat. This calms our robot dictator down. Pumping himself up for the show, he looks out into the crowd and spots something peculiar. A blue hedgehog Robotnik, gleeful at a chance to strike Sonic down with his new invention, starts the show. Sonic, in a bold fucking move, sits in the front row of this show. I can only assume it was to taunt Robotnik. Either way, that's actually pretty cool. Yeah, the balls on that kid.
Brass balls.
The brass blue ball. No, not blue balls. Not blue balls. Wait. No. Yeah, brass balls. Brass balls.
Yeah, brass balls.
But I mean, no, that's totally in character though. That's
Oh,
not
no,
out
for
of pocket.
sure.
That's in character.
Yeah, no, I just, you know, in a other podcast that we may or may not upload, we just went on a rant about like, yeah, man, sometimes Sonic is just cool, and like this is one of those moments where I'm like, you know what? I get why people like Sonic because I like Sonic because this is cool.
Yeah.
That's something I would do if I was Sonic, but no one else.
Robotnik holds his invention, Orbinaut, a small sphere that has mace balls that circle around him. Flying around. Okay, hold on. I think maces are just.
I used the phrase that they used, I believe.
Okay.
Yep. Here, quote from the panel. I am currently
It says
referencing
Maceballs.
issue number 1, page. It doesn't actually say the page number, so I am on page 20. And it says in panel 4, this is my most recent Badnik, Orbinaut. See how the mace balls allow him to hover.
Got it. Okay, that's a quote. Okay, got it. Orbinaut is a small sphere that has mace balls that circle around him, flying around like him like rings on a planet. The mace balls allow him to hover and can be launched at his enemies. Orbinaut launches a mace ball directly into Sonic's head. End of part 1. You bet my life. Part 2.
You're welcome I didn't make you recap those.
I'm very that bit would not have worked.
No. It
beyond
only
the
works
first time.
once.
Great bit though.
Yeah.
Compliments. SWATbot, along with Orbinaut, has subdued Sonic. They have got Sonic encased inside a super thick glass ball. In a brilliant move, instead of destroying his fierce nemesis, he takes the Sonic and puts him in a human-sized pinball machine and starts playing real-life Sonic Spinball. A horrible game that does not control well and a low point in Sonic music. Really, the music.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's been years. I should probably touch it again. But the fact that I don't think about it in terms of like bangers, yeah, I stand by my call out here.
Yeah, our very, very quick opinion on like the early Sonic games is that we're not really into them all that much.
You could make that argument about all the Sonic games.
Yes, I think so as well. But the music has always been the strongest
Oh yeah,
point.
the high point of every Sonic game.
And Sonic 1, the very first Sonic, banger soundtrack. Absolutely incredible soundtrack.
So,
Okay.
no, what I was gonna say is the original script I had specifically said, but Sonic Spinball had standout great music, and then I went and listened to the soundtrack because I was like, that I better make sure that's true before I put that out there.
Good, yeah.
And then I was like, no, this fucking sucks.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I believe it.
Yeah, this is my script, not his.
I
So
wonder-
his opinions aren't.
Was Spinball a spin-off? Like
Yeah, no, it was literally.
it's literally a spin-off, but like who was the team on that?
Oh, I don't.
We don't know. So it's like
I didn't do that much research.
listeners can look that up because that sounds like okay, they weren't really trying for this. This was like a reskin of something.
It was just like fast and loose.
Robotnik plays around of Sonic Spinball, and truthfully, it looks more boring in the comics than the actual video game. After a single round, Robotnik is alerted that someone won 50 cents in the casino. Robotnik, filled with a righteous rage, leaves Sonic alone with SWATbot as he leaves to take care of this robot that would dare win money at his casino. House always wins, but like, bro, it's a casino.
I mean, yeah, he's rigged it. So no one can win. But then I'm like, why are the robots there? Did he program the robots to go to this casino that they're going to lose?
It's funnier to think he's just stupid, but yeah, he's just stupid. He's either stupid or insane.
I mean, he's insane.
Yeah, both. Exactly. Okay. Sonic, realizing that the ball is too tight to use his classic spin dash move to escape, decides to etch his spines into the glass ball, using his spines like a glass cutter while Robotnik is away. Robotnik returns, wielding a giant hammer with a R on its head. I have really not noticed these R's.
Dude, they're everywhere. I actually didn't even call them all out.
Wow.
Yeah, there was one. So when he was killing his like pet robots, so he's like, I'm gonna make sure no one can know this was happening. The lever he was pulling had an R on it. It's everywhere.
Okay.
You gotta look for the R. It's like it's a mini game, Easter egg, if you will.
There you go. Yep. Robotnik returns, wielding a giant hammer with an R on its head, smoking from the destruction of his loyal servant. Robotnik loads Sonic back into the pinball machine, pulls the plunger as far back as he can, and lets go. The plunger plunges into Sonic's glass prison, freeing Sonic as the glass breaks along his etch marks. Sonic, now free, starts to spin dash. The Orbinaut flings his maze balls at Sonic, but his spin dash deflects them directly into Robotnik and Swackbot. So we learned from that. It's pretty cool. Sonic escapes, but not before placing a bomb at the Robo Casino and blows the place sky high, blasting both Robotnik and Orbinaut into orbit, akin to Team Rocket blasting off again. The end. That's pretty good. I do like how this still culminated in like a member of the Resistance committing an act of terrorism.
Yeah, no,
in a casino.
Yeah, I am a firm believer that
like that's some like Cuba shit.
Yeah, I want the freedom fighters planting bombs all the time. I want them blowing up pipelines. I want them messing up like chains of chains. I don't know. I lost my train of thought and I panicked.
Yeah, that whole plunging only works really pre-written. But anyway,
I thought plunging was so funny.
It is funny.
I was laughing my ass off when I wrote that. I'm like, I'm so fucking good. I'm like laughing maniacally. I'm like, I'm such a good writer.
Okay, you know. What are the what's the bet over under that before issue 100 there's like a whole plot line where they blow up a literal pipeline?
Ooh, I don't know.
I'm not. There's no safe way to take that bet because they totally could.
Do I think they would blow up a pipeline before issue 50?
Mm-hmm. I said 100, but honestly, 50 sounds more like a.
I'm gonna say 50.
Yeah, 50.
50 sounds better. I say. It is a plot point at some point, but it is after 50.
Okay. I'm not even going to put any money down on that because that's risky. That's too risky of a bet for me. That's interesting, though. But anyway, this is probably, we'll call it based act number 1. Sonic blows up the casino of the oppressor.
I agree, I think.
You agree that it's based or that it's the first one?
It's the first based act he did.
Yeah.
Or no.
Like on that level, like obviously, like defeating robots is always a base act.
No, I'm gonna say his first base act was when he was called, specifically making fun of Antoine, saying "Geek Squad."
Okay.
So number 1 is making fun of Antoine.
That's cool
and based.
No, I don't think that's based.
Okay, fine. The blowing up the casino is Sonic's first based act.
That's pretty based act. Okay.
And then, so for the record, the comic is technically done.
Yes.
But we have one-shots.
We do have one-shots.
And they backload them because they know no one wants to read them. And I was originally going to skip them, but me and Dominic had a conversation, and I agree that the completionist in us needs to sit down. And these one-shots, if I should explain, if you don't know what a one-shot is, it's like one single page of a comic, and it is... most of the time, I'm going to say 100% of the time, truthfully, non-canon. If you don't know what non-canon means, it means it is not, it doesn't apply to the actual universe that it's in. It's just a fun little made-up thing that happened. And so these are non-canon events. They don't matter to the story. We're going to read them here. Dominic.
And let me also say that I do appreciate them. At some point, if we have to skip them later on, that's fine.
We're not skipping them later on.
That's fine. But like, I like them because it's like, hey, what if you took these characters and put them in this situation? It doesn't really. It's completely inconsequential.
Okay, you know what? I would say, yeah, that would be cool if they did cool, fun things with them.
But they don't. They really don't. Yeah. At least not yet.
Okay, that is true. Not yet.
Yeah. So we're doing this in the anticipation that they'll get better. One shots. These are not canon, but we will be addressing these for the sake of completionist sakes. Sonic the Hedgehog in I'd Like to Thank. Sally and Boomer are presenting the first annual Acorn Awards. Boomer starts presenting the first award, which is Outstanding Resourcefulness Against Robotnik SWAT-Bots, which Sonic runs up and grabs. The next award is for Best Performance Disguised as a Robot, which Sonic also just quickly runs up and grabs before Boomer can finish the words. The last award, Best All-Around Freedom Fighter, he gets cut off with Sonic quickly grabbing the award. Cut to Boomer standing on the stage, trophyless, saying, well, that was a quick ceremony, with Sally replying, yeah, you might say Sonic ran away with it.
And that's it. That's the whole fucking thing.
Bit.
Next one.
One shot. Sonic in Keep Looking Up. Sonic receives a letter from J.R. Kincaid of Vero Beach, Florida, which, hey, J.R. Kincaid, if you're watching.
Or listening,
or alive. The letter is thus. Dear Sonic, at what speed do your legs disappear and become those blurry spinning wheels? That's actually a really good question.
We're about to find out.
Sonic starts running. He starts at ultrasonic speed, which his legs are still visible. Then he moves to supersonic. Please note that this supersonic is not the version where he gathers the 7 Chaos Emeralds. We are assuming this speed got retconned at some point. His legs are still visible. He moves to transonic. Hold on. Wow, these aren't canon.
No, yeah, this is not canon.
So we don't have canon transonic. Oh, that'd be sick. That'd be sick. Everyone on Tumblr just like collective awe.
It's just like that. We broke the hearts.
Yeah, ArtStation.
We can pinpoint the exact moment we broke Tumblr's heart.
He then moves to transonic, which moves his legs so fast that they become blurry and end up looking like a red and white mint. Sonic then runs into a tree because he was not paying attention.
End of one shot.
Mm-hmm. One shot. Sonic the Hedgehog in fast food. Sonic makes a chili dog recipe. 1 pound ground beef. Add ½ cup each of chopped onions, pepper, and mushrooms, brown lightly. And 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire. 1 large can of crushed tomatoes. 8 ounces of barbecue sauce. Simmer for a ½ hour. Add 1 teaspoon of chili powder, cumin, oregano. 1 large can of red kidney beans, drained. Simmer for 1 hour. Add hot dogs. Cook 15 minutes in sauce. Put on toasted roll. Sally then cream pies Sonic's face because the comic is supposed to be funny. The end. Now, to be clear, Sonic takes a pie and with cream on it and then hits Sonic in the face with the pie. That's what you meant when you wrote that, right, Nick?
What'd you think I fucking meant?
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the end of issue 1. What an interesting issue 1.
Yeah, I liked it.
Do you think what's better? The miniseries before issue 1 or
No.
issue? Yeah,
Issue 1 for sure. The miniseries was complete trash. It just felt like a bunch of one shots where they were just flailing just to see if.
Hold on. Are we talking about the same thing here? Like, this like the background story and like the.
Yeah, but none of that mattered. None of it's canon. They just made shit up, and they're just like, let's see what happens. This is when Sonic becomes Sonic. This is the real shit.
This is like in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. At this point, we would normally be like, hey, we have emails. This is our first episode.
We would have our own Sonicgrams.
Yeah.
Because at the end of every single Sonic issue, there is, or at least so far, there's Sonicgrams where people can wrote in directly to the editorial staff or directly to Sonic themselves, and the editors would read them or respond to them.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool.
It is pretty cool. And we'll do the same to our one fan.
So far.
Yeah. To our 2 fans, because I can think of 2 people who will. Well, you have 1 person, and I have 1 person.
Yes. So you know what? If you want to write into Sonicgrams, go ahead and follow that email address on the screen right now.
You're also gonna have to just enter a voiceover, just for the audio podcast.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. If you want to write into Sonicgrams, and we will absolutely read them.
All of them.
All of them. Please enter the email address sonicgrams@gottatalkfast.com SONICGRAMS@GOTTATALKFAST.com. All right.
You said it beautifully.
Yes, thank you.
And yeah, that is the end of our very first episode. I think it went well.
I think it went all right because this is like the fourth or fifth first episode we've recorded.
Yeah, that's a Patreon exclusive. Well, we'll go into deep dive.
Dude, we've got more Patreon exclusive content than actual like public content because we have recorded that like at least three times I want to say. Yeah.
We were trying to get the vibe, and honestly, I think we finally got the vibe.
I think we'll see. We'll see. Like 4 or 5 will be the actual like, is this good or not?
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Well,
we gotta get a catchphrase for like when we sign off.
Stage complete. S rank. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Gotta talk. Gotta toast. Gotta talk. Gotta toast. Gotta talk. Gotta toast. Gotta talk. Gotta toast. Gotta talk. Gotta talk. Gotta talk. Gotta toast.